From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. Nick Barris here on a Wednesday. Good show on tap for you, as always, with our guests. We're going to open up the phone lines, invite you to join in the conversation. Certainly hope that you do. 737-7587 is the number. And this morning, we're joined by Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Nick.
You know, I think, is this the first time you've been on since the passing of Joe?
I wrote a note down. The first thing I wanted to mention, yes. I was on here last month. Joe called in, and as he has virtually for many years, and really sad. I believe it was a couple of days later, Nick. I mean,
okay, that's what I thought. Well, I messaged you as soon as I found out that was the case, his daughter, and I had posted and mentioned it the next day, and his family still watches. But I was just thinking, having you on the program and not having Joe call in, I already miss him so much. Not because I appreciate just calls. I liked him, and
Nick, I'm not just. I'd say this to him almost every call. I mean, he was more aware of what was going on in the city than surely I was. But and even the various issues. I thought he was a well-grounded man. I communicated with his daughter too, and just said,
that's good. I don't know,
just what a welcome sight in today's crazy world that you had this man who was aware of the issues. I thought he would listen and may not even agree with certain things, but was very cordial. And I just, to his family, I'm so sorry for your loss. Just a great man. And like I said, monthly, he would always ask about my family. I believe, I don't know for sure.
He thought a lot of your dad.
I thought, right back when he was sick, he was always asking about him. And and like I said, I mean, maybe a day or two after we were on here last month, and just so sad to hear that. And
we wanted to mention it. And it's going to be, the show won't be the same without him. He was a big part of it, as many of our callers are. So those of you who didn't know it, you've come to know Joe as well. And may he rest in peace. And I'm thinking about his family, but just a good person. It's not often when you come on that you are able to talk about something happening immediately at this moment. But as we speak, the Metro PD's out there still looking for two inmates that walked away from a work detail. They did not escape from the jail. This happens to sheriffs all across the country. It can happen. Talk a little bit about this case. It's two individuals and work detail. What were they doing? And if someone is assigned to work detail, is it just pretty basic? If they want to walk away, I mean, you almost can't call it an escape. They're put on that because you think they're smart enough not to, because they're close to the end of their sentence, right?
Yeah, Nick, inmate workers in all jails and prisons are kind of vital. A lot of it's internal, cooking meals and cleaning the facilities and all that. That's one type of what we call inside access. But once you're in our agency and you're cleared for outside clearance, what that basically means is each morning you're picked up, taken to a central area. We have a central area where there's a laundry and a warehouse, and then there's trucks, crews. They go out all over Nashville and do all sorts of different types of work with inmates. In this case, the individuals that were picked up were brought to this central location. It's outside of what you would call our perimeter of the jails, but it's where they all assign. You get on this truck and you go to laundry, you go to maintenance, and all that type of thing. So once they arrive at that scene, these two left that scene. They were in a work detail assignment because it's where they were headed. I don't even know for sure. I could have checked, but where they were to have gone to work. Like some days it may be the Parthenon, or it could be Metro Water, or helping mow grass or whatever. So they left the facility. We bring them to a central place and then assign them where they're going to work. And so they left from that central place instead of the actual work assignment in the community. So if they weren't in Donaldson or Antioch, they were actually at our location, which is outside the secure area of our facility. So, and that's how it happens every day. This happens, unfortunately, I guess, throughout the year, handfuls of times. The part you bring up is important. These guys are classified by our staff to be low risk enough to go work outside clearance. Usually that means you have a short sentence left, but even if you have a short sentence but your behavior doesn't dictate that you're eligible to go to work, you still stay inside. So their behavior allowed them, their charges allowed them to go work, and again, I don't have it in front of me, but they were due out here in the next few months anyway.
They were in on a probation violation. This was, they had priors obviously, but it was a violation of a probation.
Right.
So they were already out.
Right.
Meaning that they're there at the jail. I mean, it's probably a matter of months, maybe even weeks before that was going to be, okay, you're free to go.
Yeah, and it's what's so silly about it. I mean, the reality of it is they were given an opportunity years ago in a probation program, and that could be a dirty year run where you would come back or you fail to go to court or something. But anyway, so that in turn gets you on probation. You violate your probation, then you're rearrested. So in the rearrest, they're back in doing their time now with us, and after a period of time that you've been doing your time, then our classification staff say, well, he's eligible. Here's the reality. Nick Barris is going home anyway. And so the idea is he needs to learn to work and live in the community before we just shock and release him. So the transition from jail into our community should be jail, some work assignment, some freedom, some steps in the community, and then all of a sudden, hopefully one day when you go out, you understand how to live and function and behave. That doesn't always happen. You have people who are knuckleheads, they get in these programs and they leave the scene in this situation. So that charge will now be an escape. They will have more sentence on top of their probation violation, because typically the judge will make them serve the rest of that and add a sentence on top of that for escape. Now, that's important because forevermore they will have an escape on their record and won't be eligible to work no matter where they go in jails and prisons, because that will be a no-no. That's a big indicator of how you classify people. Are they escape risk? Are they a risk to do that? So now they will always have that charge, and as far as I'm concerned, in any community is not going to allow them to go back on work detail. So,
and would you not say too that work detail, and I've even said this in some of my reports on this, is that work detail, many of the inmates welcome it. I mean, it beats the heck out of sitting in your cell staring at the wall. You can go out and be riding a mower on a beautiful day and helping out. It saves taxpayers money. But for the inmate, is that not usually recognized as a privilege to be able to go do this?
No doubt about it. And there's more reasons than that. One of them is it makes your time go by faster. Physically, you're out and exercise, whatever you want to call it. You are helping the community. I mean, we do a ton of really valuable services for the community through the inmates, and they all participate. I say all. The inmates that do participate all really get something out of it themselves. There's a little bit of self-help, but there's also helping out, and it's a privilege, and they're able to do that. I don't have it again how long they've been on the program with us, but sometimes you can see it where they're a month away. I've had it before where they're a month away from going home. Something goes on in the community and they take off and go to, maybe it's the girlfriend, maybe it's an issue that they want to go take care of, and it's really silly. I mean, not just this, but even in the breakout. I was having a conversation a week or so ago with someone who doesn't do this line of work, and was talking about the word escape and breaking out of facilities, and I said, most people don't realize this, but there's efforts, really elaborate escape plans. Some have been successful, some haven't. But the escape is not really the hard part, it's living. I mean, just now these two people are running around, there's someone over their shoulder, they're going to be caught. I mean, they will be caught. But even in the serious escapes, I mean, they always are caught, virtually always. And so just imagine working for months on end in a prison setting to come up with this elaborate escape. That happens, and then they escape and have no way to live.
You would think about that as well.
Right.
Now this is different. There was not an elaborate. These guys basically looked at each other and said, "Hey, we're here. We can just walk away."
Right.
Now, and my guess is in their mind they're saying whatever they're planning on doing right now is worth it, unless they're just incredibly stupid. They know at some point they're going to get caught again, and yet in their mind it was worth whatever they are doing right now.
Right. I mean, I look at it like this. I mean, I see people do stupid things at football games. I see people do stupid things in the streets. I see people do stupid things in my neighborhood, I'm sure. And just imagine, you're in this situation, you're sitting there talking, and hey, let's go. What do you mean? Well, I got this. I know someone we can stay with. I mean, it's just, that's very stupid, right? The reality is they get caught up in that, and then again, it's not super complicated to walk away from an assignment like this. I mean, what's ridiculous is they're going to be caught. Look, you need a job, you need money, you need things to live. And so it's fine that first night, maybe the second night, but you got to find a way to get up and go. Your property we still have, all your phone calls are recorded, we know who's visiting you.
There are pictures on every newscast.
Right.
It's out there. And by the way, we should just say, as you said, qualifying for these I'm guessing, I don't know if you know off the top of your head what the probation violation was for, what the original offense, but it's non-violent. I mean,
right.
You're not having any, attempted murder or ag assault folks ending up working on work detail. These guys, who knows what it was, or maybe you do know, but it would be non-violent, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they may have had violent charges in the history. I mean, that doesn't exclude you. Let's say you had an assault 5 years ago or 5 months ago, but your charges that you're in on now should not be violence or by any means an escape-related.
I mean, you don't consider them a threat to the community?
No, I do not. I mean, it doesn't mean they couldn't do something silly in the fleeing of what they're doing, but their charges qualified them to go to work. And again, I mean, this sounds silly, but that individual is going to be living on your street in just a few months anyway. Meaning, if you're scared of them, well, you got 3 months to get over it. I mean, it's going to happen. The reality of it is, again, that you would want them to learn to do, their sentence in the jail and then learn to live in the community and jail, which is just work assignment, and then understand by the time they get in the community permanently, they hopefully learn how to work, learn how to live without committing crimes. When you're given a privilege like this and you're working and you take advantage of that, you need to be held accountable for it. That's ridiculous. You should do your time and do what the program asks of you. But it's not that unusual. I mean, we have it happen throughout the year because we used to work 200 people a day.
I was just about to ask you, before we go to break, we'll do that and I'll let you follow up. But about how many work detail inmates do you have out there in a given week? I know it varies, but I mean, it can be several dozen?
Yeah, I would say 20 to 30 is a good number. We used to be 200. I mean, there used to be 200 a day.
Of course, you just don't have as that many.
That's right. So we're way down. Now, there's others working inside clearance, kitchens and cleanup crews that don't have access to go anywhere. The outside clearance is probably in the 20 number, 25, 30, something like that.
And every once in a while, someone will walk away.
Right. And again, it's unfortunate. We classify them. We're clearly working with the police to gather all the information we have, because you have a lot of information. Like I said, phones are recorded. There's a lot of information about who you're communicating with and maybe who could be helping you, and that in itself is a charge.
Take a quick break. We'll be back more with the sheriff. We can take phone calls, and we're going to talk about much more beyond just this as well for the rest of the show. So stay with us. We'll be right back.